guys. I just sounded like your cousin. Welcome to the podcast. Sure. It's George Gill with Gustavo Martinez.
What's up?
Don't say hi this time.
Okay. Okay. I take that back.
So, this episode, I was talking to you about kind of the direction we wanted this episode to go, and it's around some of the things that we've been seeing in the marketplace right now, which is the competition that exists, and the fact that multiple offers and over asking sales have become the new norm, at least in the last couple of months. And so I wanted to hear from you as to how you've been handling these situations, because I know that you have actually been in many multiple offer situations, and some of them you've actually won, and others you've actually lost. And there's been cases where you have lost several times with the same client. And so from an emotional perspective, how have clients been dealing with that? How have you been dealing with other clients?
I cried a lot.
So give us a little bit of insight as to, number one, any strategy that you've been seeing, or also how you've been handling it on an emotional level.
Let's start off because there's a lot of people that are probably not on the market right now, and they probably don't know what's happening really. They probably hear it, but they don't know what's happening. So the demand for properties right now has been like off the charts, and inventory is so low right now that it's creating for most properties, it's creating multiple offer situations, highs and best. And it is emotionally draining, I feel, for buyers to be told no so many times. I had a buyer, I still have, luckily we're under contract right now, spoiler alert, but we probably went through like 6 or 7 houses.
Multiple offer situations?
Yes. And obviously, like we lost all of them. Financing type is going to play a big part in this as well. But either way, how do you tell your first-time home buyer that it's not your fault that their offers are not getting accepted?
Yeah.
Someone that doesn't understand the market, doesn't know what's happening. I mean, you can try to explain things to them, but after it happens 5, 6, 7 times, you even start questioning yourself. Like, what is there anything else I should be doing? So it's emotionally draining. Luckily, most of them, actually all of them, have stuck with me, and with 90% of them, we're actually under contract right now, so that's good. But it was a tough month.
Yeah, because it could be very frustrating for buyers that are wanting to take advantage of such advantageous conditions right now when it comes to interest rates. They've never been this low, and so they see a lot of colleagues, friends, family members taking advantage of that. They want to do that as well, and now they're running into that roadblock where, is this even going to happen? Like, I'm ready to go, but
dude, you know what the worst part is? They're not even fearful of paying a premium.
Right?
Like, there's no fear there. Like, I'm talking about strong, solid offers on all of these properties.
Yeah.
Sometimes going $5,000 over asking, sometimes going $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking, and still being told no. At that point, is like, how do you explain to your client that their $40,000 over asking, offer was turned down?
Yeah.
That they gave it to somebody else. It's tough.
It is. And so I guess that kind of segues into what we can actually focus on this episode, which is how can we address this? What ways can we think outside of the box for us to put us in a more competitive position? Because it seems as though a number alone is not enough anymore. Like you said, they're not afraid to pay a premium, but that alone is not enough to get them into the house. And so I think one of the first go-to things is, and this has been around a while, and I think that you don't see it often anymore. And I actually, quite frankly, I'm not sure why.
It's to threaten the seller?
Is the what?
To threaten the seller? Is that it? Or?
To charm the seller. I think you confused your words.
Sorry. That's what I meant. No wonder my offers are not getting in.
Is to charm the seller. Write a letter. Tell them this, I fell in love with your house. All the reasons why your buyers can picture themselves in that house. A lot of times, sellers are very emotionally attached to their house, and they will make a decision based on who they feel is going to take care of that house and who it's most appropriate for.
It worked with 2 of my buyers.
Right. If it's someone who they think is just going to trash the place or rent it out or redo it or whatnot, they might not go with the higher offer. So it's not something that we see very often, but it certainly doesn't hurt
to go for it.
Yeah, right. It certainly doesn't hurt. The letter, I think, is something that could be done. But it's something that's been around for a while. So I want to touch up on some other things that I've in talking with some people, I've kind of triggered some ideas as to what else we could do.
So let's talk about the basic ones, because we talk about money. That's obviously the biggest part of it on a contract. But there's so many other different terms of that contract that can actually be changed to make it more appealing to the seller. Things like a larger deposit, initial deposit, to show that you truly want the house and that you want to have as much skin in the game as possible. And you don't mind the risk because that's how bad you want it, meaning that you'll get it to the closing table. Doing things like that, taking the property as is, or just waiving inspection. It's something that it's a bit aggressive, but if the property seems to be in really good shape, and maybe you're not a first-time home buyer, or you're handy and you can notice these things, right, that might be something to also use to your advantage.
It might not be the market to nitpick an inspection, and
Oh, definitely right. not. And when people have 3, 4, 5 backup offers, no, they'll move on to the next one in a heartbeat.
So around that same idea with the terms of the contract, other options might be thinking about the fact that at the end of the day, well, I shouldn't say at the end of the day, but what's most appealing to a seller is what? It's not the number on the contract. It's what they're actually walking away with. It's the net to them, right? So one thing that perhaps is an out of the box option is, and this was thrown out from somebody in another marketplace, but it's paying the seller's transfer taxes.
The 1%?
In Connecticut, there's a 1% transfer tax for anything that's under $800,000. That's a direct seller expense. You can offer somebody full price for their house, but regardless, automatically they're going to have to pay 1%, 3/4 of it to the state, 1/4 of it to their town. And so an option would be to pay the transfer taxes, and that's advantageous in two ways. One, you net the seller more, but two, you risk, depending on the price point of your property, you don't have an appraisal issue because you're essentially giving them X number more without actually going up by that amount. So you could pay their transfer tax in that regard, in that example. Another example, not necessarily the same as netting the seller more, but that gives your buyers some ammunition, might be appealing to your lenders for a lender credit. Interest rates are so low right now that an interest buyback might be an option that puts your buyer in a stronger position to be able to make a more aggressive offer.
Sure.
So those are two options that, in addition to the terms of the contract, in addition to potentially writing a letter and charming the seller, those are two options that I think are things that should be kept in the wheelhouse when trying to figure out how can we make this work. And this is an option. This is a $500,000 house. If we offer the seller this much and at the same time pay their transfer taxes on a $500,000 house, that's $5,000 more.
It's the equivalent of you offering an extra $1,000 or $2,000.
Well, in the $500,000 house, it's the equivalent of offering $5,000.
Yes, but it's the equivalent of doing that without having that fear with appraisal,
right,
like you were saying.
Right, because at the end of the day, the seller's netting that much more because you paid their transfer taxes. And so, that can be a strategy that might work in certain situations.
Yeah.
Now, there are two that I actually want to. One of them is one that you talk about a lot, and I think that in this market, it's become very, very, very true.
Oh.
And the other one is one that I talk about a lot.
Okay,
so
I don't care.
I'm going to compete for how much we can talk. No, I'm only kidding.
I probably don't know yours because I don't listen to anything you say, but. Is the one, and actually I'm so glad you brought that up because that is something that I had in mind today and I completely forgot, probably because I don't use paper or write things down. But I think the biggest and most important thing in this market that's so competitive.
Don't get it wrong.
Oh man, so much pressure. Oh my God. Is networking. Right? What kind of relationship do you have with the other agent?
Yes.
I think that is probably...
Tell him what he's won, Johnny. No, I'm kidding. It's funny because his name is Johnny. So, yeah, rapport with the listing agent.
Yes. That is probably... Because once again, there are so many agents out there, like... When you have a listing, you realize how many agents are out there. Yeah. When you work with the buyers, there's only like a handful of people that you see, often, right?
Yeah.
But being able to have good rapport and them knowing that your buyer is is approved correctly, pre-approved, not a stupid pre-qual that doesn't mean anything, And I'm sorry, but it's true. In this market, you need someone that had their funds verified already, employment verified. You need that strong of a pre-approval. And if they know the circle that you work with, your lender, your attorney, and they know you, then they will vouch for you.
Right. It's true. I mean, and not just if they know the circle that you work with, but if they know that you have taken it to a point where you have a circle with whom you work.
Or square.
But in a way, you control the process as best as you can.
Right.
And that's important, because if you're looking at two identical offers, having a rapport with a listing agent could say, look, at the end of the day, I would put my money with this one making it to the closing table, because I trust the way that this agent works. He's always on his game. He works with the right people. He vets his clients, and he's going to be on top of the transaction every step of the way.
Right.
As opposed to somebody who either has a bad reputation or
just don't know anything.
You don't know anything about him.
He might be just as good,
right?
But he doesn't know. So why take the chance?
Right. Because at the end of the day, we buyers or sellers, I should say, or buyers for that matter, they rely very heavily on what their agent says.
For sure.
The agent's advice is very, very valuable to a client. And short of telling a client what to do, an agent will advise them on what they feel the best course of action is. And if it's coming from their representation, they take that very seriously. And so it's important for you to have that rapport.
I have gotten offers accepted in which my client was not the highest bidder.
Right. No, yeah. It happens all the time. So I think that's, we haven't been doing this for very long, but at least in the time that we've been doing it, I don't think that there's ever been a time where
like
this has
years.
been so important. The rapport with the listing agent, or the rapport with just other agents in general, is super important.
And even though I preach that and I say that so often, I'm still amazed of how much, because I don't think I truly understand yet how powerful that is. Because just very little things that happen throughout the day just remind me of that, and it keeps wowing me. Like, can't believe it had that much impact on that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people see other agents as competition, and they tread very carefully with them. But at the end of the day, it's called co-brokering for a reason. You're cooperating with other agency to get to the same finish line.
Exactly,
so,
we all have the same goal at the end of the day.
Okay,
sure.
So
and what was yours?
Last point.
I'm leaving now.
One of the things that's very difficult to pinpoint with clients, and one of the things that before I adopted this strategy was very frustrating for me, was really getting your client to confirm with you what is their highest offer they're willing to pay for a property. Because you could say to them, the highest offer, this property is under multiple offers, it's highest and best, how high do you want to go? And they will say,
that's happened to me.
What's that?
They will give you a number, and then you would tell them, sorry, we didn't get it. Well, what if we went up $5,000 more?
Yeah.
Too late, man.
That's super frustrating, because in this market, the fact that this has become a norm, at least temporarily, but for the last couple of months, it has been the norm, where a lot of properties that come on the market are sold within the first week and with multiple offers, and in some cases over asking. And so,
my dude, the first 3 days. If priced correctly, the first 3 days.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's nuts. And so now more than ever, that strategy, I think, is important. And we can refer to it as walking your buyers up the ladder. And I wrote that down for the purposes of this podcast so that we can kind of visualize it. And it's walk them up the ladder.
Okay.
This property is on the market for $200,000. It's got multiple offers. They're asking for highest and best before the end of the day.
Right.
How much would you like to offer?
You ever play the consumer or no?
Sure.
195.
Let's make it a little bit. Well, I guess 195 works. Fine. I was gonna say let's start over asking.
That was my initial offer.
All right,
195, and now it's highest and best.
Okay, it's highest and best. Yeah, we're gonna have to go over, and just so you know, this property is priced pretty competitively. I provided you with some comps that show that this property is actually listed very aggressively, and I think that my suggestion would be to go. If you actually want this house, maybe we should go in above 200,000, because it's very likely to sell above 200,000. And so, sure, what would be your offer?
Okay, we'll do 205.
Okay, if we offer 205 and you find out that somebody paid 208 for it, would you be upset?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe your highest offer should be 208. Now, if somebody offered 211 for the property, would you be upset?
Yes.
You would be upset if somebody purchased it for 211.
I will be upset that I didn't get the house.
Would you, if you had known that somebody offered 211, would you have matched 211?
what would have done 211,100.
Okay, so 211,100 is where we go. If when you submit the offer,
when is this going to stop though?
Exactly.
There's going to
be well, the example is if somebody says, if somebody offers $215,000 for the house, would you be upset? No, that's too much. Fine, 211 is your highest number. Because if I come back to you and say you didn't get the house, what's your reaction going to be? It's not going to be, oh, I wish I had known, I would have gone higher. It's, you know what? Let them have it.
Right.
I didn't want it at higher than 211.
And I would tell myself that they paid too much just so I can sleep at night.
And you would tell what?
I would tell myself that the other buyers just paid too much for it. They overpaid.
Well, maybe not, but...
No, I know, but that's what I would tell as a consumer, as a buyer. That's what I would tell myself.
And now you're setting yourself up for disaster the next multiple offer round.
Whatever.
But what I mean is it's not meant to drive your buyers to a high point. It's meant to make sure that they are offering their true maximum to the point where they're not going to be upset by finding out that somebody offered more for the house.
You want to know that they left it all on the table.
Exactly. And because too many times people want the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. People want their cake and eat it too. Is that how you say it?
I've never heard that before.
That's how you say it. Don't you say it backwards?
Tres leches?
Huh?
I want tres leches and I want to eat it too. That's what I want.
Okay, well, anyway.
I think I do say it like that though.
So you can't say to yourself, I want, or you can't lead it. You can't go into these situations and say, I want to get this house, but at the same time, I want to get a good deal.
Right. Not today.
In this marketplace, you're going to have to be aggressive, and it's going to really have to be your highest and best. You can't say, oh, I really would go up to 210, but I really would love if I could get this house for 205. It just, unfortunately, not just in today's marketplace, but the way that multiple offer rounds work and the fact that all offers are confidential, we just don't have that luxury.
That's if you get a highest and best round. Right. That's not a guaranteed. So you in today's market, like me as a buyer just now, as an example, coming in at 195. Obviously, there's so many variables that go with this, so it may not apply, but that wasn't good enough already. Like right from the beginning. I mean, so it's important for us to tell our clients that.
Right.
Even comps are out the window. I mean, honestly, like who knows what things are going to comp for anymore. But yeah, we'll just take it one step at a time, I guess. Right.
So those were some points I highlighted that I thought were useful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess this is happening often. So perhaps maybe you can when we come back, you might have new examples or new strategies that have been implemented. Sure. What has worked, what hasn't worked, and maybe we can give an update.
Absolutely.
All right.
Sounds good. I hope this helps some people out there. If you're an agent, don't use that. These are my strategies. Get your own. Damn it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.